Right, so we're roughly 18 months in. The Corona's just done its third race. So far the build's been chaotic. You probably don't know what we've done, even though hopefully you've watched it all. So we thought we'd just do a bit of a recap so you can see what this car actually is, because we think it's pretty great.
So here we've done a grill delete. It's a common mod on crashed cars. So we've just blanked it out with mesh for the meantime. We'll look at getting a face on it in the future.
So this whole corner of the car has been replaced because one of our Ford drivers didn't know to keep it between the walls at Calder Park. So it's a new bonnet, new guard, new bumper and light, and then we resprayed the whole thing yellow just to cover up the undisclosed person's sins.
So our front brakes we got off a forum. They're BA Falcon front rotors, Nissan R33 GTS calipers. That all just bolted up, and then we needed to get a 25mm wheel spacer so we could fit our wheels over the top of it. So rear brake upgrades in a similar vein to the front. We've got BA Falcon rotors. We've actually gone with BA Falcon rear calipers as well, and we had to have a 25mm spacer to get the wheels to fit again.
From our first race at Bend, we have an updated livery. We've got classic sponsor livery with a big 365 motif and some lines running down the side.
Yeah, quite on set. We replaced all of the glass except for our front glass with polycarb. So we've got polycarb in the doors, polycarb quarter windows, and polycarb on the back. On the doors, we've retained all the original seals and they're slotted in the same as a normal window would be. We've reused the original seal on this quarter window as well. And then same deal on the back, although we didn't trust that enough because obviously there'll be a big low pressure zone here, so we've got an aluminium strap to hold that in at the ludicrous speeds this vehicle is capable of.
So for reasons that will become clear a bit later, we took out the front radiator support, which means we couldn't have a bonnet latch. So we had to add 2 bonnet pins to the front to make it a real race car.
So most of the changes made to the car so far have been in the engine bay, most notably our 3S FE, which is a twin cam 2-litre 4-cylinder from a later Toyota Camry. It's supposed to sit the other way in the original car, and there was a lot of modifications required to make that happen, but it puts us right at the top of the power allowance for our category, and it looks cool. It says 16 valve in red letters on it.
So because this engine was out of a Camry, the intake manifold was in the completely wrong spot and wouldn't fit in this car, in this configuration. So we designed and 3D printed out of nylon a new intake manifold. Designing process, we wanted to keep the plenum volume pretty similar to what the car came from stock, so we didn't mess up whatever the Toyota engineers thought of there. And then for the runner length, we were aiming for a peak torque at about 5,800 RPM.
At the Bend, she ended up getting far too hot. We kind of melted our 3D printed intake. We warped the head. So that's a brand new wrecker's head from Adelaide itself. And we rebuilt it in a few hours.
Why do we think it overheated?
Because Kit ignored the temperature gauge.
What's a reason that isn't throwing Kit under the bus? He's not here to defend himself.
Well, we have this long metal pipe as part of our cooling system, and we forgot to put the heat shield in over the exhaust manifold. So we just heated up the water and it all escaped. So we had 0 coolant when we came back in after our fire incident. We made some improper heat shielding at the track.
So another quick fix at the track was these cable ties. These are actual load-bearing cable ties. They're holding the spark plug leads onto the spark plugs. I don't know why we keep blowing them off, but they keep coming off. Other things in the engine bay that we've got that are new and different. This brake master cylinder is off a R33 GTS, like the brakes. We've got a catch can to catch the copious amounts of dirty oil that comes out of this thing. Custom brake lines and clutch lines up here. Yeah, we've got an alternator that doesn't make all the grounds live and light the car on fire. A lot of wiring loom from the Camry that may or may not be needed, just cable tied in there. This has also got the electric fan off the Camry, so we've got radiator from the Corona and then electric fan from the Camry, so theoretically it should have the same amount of cooling as it did in the Camry, and the Camrys weren't known for overheating, so I don't know what we're doing different. Our radiator support now is removable, so we can pull the engine in and out quicker and easier, because that's something we do a fair bit of. This fancy Ram Air intake you see here was the factory Camry one with the front cut off. We also, I think you'll agree, did this tasty paint job. This is a Autobahn wheel silver paint that we've used here, and we've also wanted a little bit of patina, so we blew off a coolant hose and covered it in rust. So the other things we needed to do to get this mighty engine in our Corona was re-drill the block so we could fit the Corona engine mounts onto that, and then replace those engine mounts with neoprene, because they were cactus and we wanted them to be neoprene. Neoethylene?
Polyurethane?
Are they polyurethane? Not cactus, is the point. The other thing we needed to do is, because normally this is transverse and the Dizzy is sitting over here somewhere, there wasn't space in this engine bay for it, so we cut and extended the firewall so we could fit the distributor.
Moving on to the interior, done a whole host of safety and style related modifications, starting with a nice sturdy roll cage, some snug harnesses and a racing seat. Got an aftermarket steering wheel on a quick release hub adapter. We've got a kill switch. We have got the gauge cluster from the Camry that the motor is out of. We have two professionally mounted gauges, one for water temp and one for fuel volume. We have got a colour matched shift ball. We've got relocated ignition barrel so that Kit and Nick can only just start the car when they're strapped in. We've got what has been affectionately known as the Kit panel, which is a panel to cover all of our really ugly wiring. We've got a panoramic interior mirror. We have this window net here so that your hands and feet stay inside the vehicle at all times. If I wanted to adjust the brakes, I would twist this little knob down on the transmission tunnel, and that would adjust the brake bias front and rear. If while I was doing that, I noticed that something on the car was alight, I could use this fire extinguisher here. We painted the bottom plane of the interior silver to match our engine bay because we think it looks cool, and then we didn't do the rest of the interior because we're not actually very cool. And we have a nice hook to hang the steering wheel on.
It's not very yellow.
Corona buddies?
Why is it bleeping at me?
Look at that Hilux engine, baby.
Nice. Ford, a 3 SUV.
Can you guys be mean to each other loud enough for the mic to pick up?
No, it's as they bought it.
Pretty shiny.
Yeah, right?
When we were switching to the Camry engine, we had a few issues, so we installed a fuel cell under the GAV panel. GAV lent on it, so there's a big dent in it, but we've got a fuel cell that utilises the stock filling point. So we've said we've perfected the comms at some point, we never have. At one point during our last trip to the Bend, this was our antenna, and we were using the whole Corona as an antenna, just getting mad feedback in areas. So we're going to have to look to replace that in the future.
Alright, howdy. I'm coming straight at you live from underneath the Corona. Just going to talk about some stuff that you can see from underneath. So start off with suspension setup. What we are running here is RA60 coilovers from Titan. They're their SP3 race spec ones. In the rear sway bar, we are running a 18mm three-way adjustable A86 sway bar. That basically fits straight up. We just had to make some little spaces which we 3D printed. Handling wise, that sway bar made the biggest difference out of probably anything else we've done to the car. Gearbox wise, we are running a W58 from the early Supras. Coming out the back of it is a solid alloy tail shaft. It's meant to have a center bearing in it, but now it's just one solid piece with BA Falcon unis, so way stronger. If we break that, we've got more troubles. And that's going to the standard Borg Warner live axle in the rear, which is welded for skids. Every bushing or anything, basically rubber underneath the car, has been replaced with urethane poly to stiffen it up as well.
That's terrible.
That's a sum. That's a
Action.
That's a summary of what we've done so far to Sunny. We've obviously got some improvements we need to make to the cooling system and to having our head stay on the block from our last race at the bend,
And the fuel having air.
and the fuel having air access to it. But basically, it's going to be little reliability changes before our next race, and we'll be producing videos of that as well. So if you like what we're doing, please hit like and subscribe, and you'll be able to see the rest of the build and all of the other atrocities we commit to this poor car.
Yeah, you'll see this not finish at Winton.
Just
soon,
like you saw it
couple of
not
months.
finish at the bed. Oh no, it did finish it.
Kind of thing.
They crossed the finish
Yeah,
line,
yeah,
but
it did.
we missed the middle whole
It didn't
third.
middle at the bend, did it?
Or the end. The start and the beginning's the important. The start and the end's the important.
Can't win a race if you don't finish it.
Yeah, exactly.
To finish first, you must have your head remain attached to your block.
Yeah.
I think
Bye.
that's probably all we need. Thank you.
That's
So,